his resignation. Joining us now from Albany, New York is Republican Congressman Aaron Schock. Good morning, Congressman.
Good morning, Shannon. Good to be with you.
All right, first question. Are you joining the course of those who think it's time for the Secretary to step down?
You know, I'm not going to call on him to resign. I think ultimately he's a member of the President's cabinet, and the monkey is on the back of President Obama, and it's up to him to decide who's most ably capable to serve him in his cabinet. I can assure you that if I were the President, he would not be in my cabinet. And so ultimately the decision will be with the President, but without a doubt he has failed the American people in terms of looking out for their taxpayer dollars.
And of course he's taking a lot of heat because the question is, when did he know about these AIG bonuses? What did he do? What did he not do about it? How did you come out on the AIG bonus tax bill, the measure up on the Hill this week, to take back at least 90% of this money?
Well, Shannon, I was one of the overwhelming majority that voted for the bill, and I'll be the first to admit to you it was not the desired bill that I wanted to vote on. It was not a perfect bill, but as I always say, the perfect is the enemy of the good, and this was a better bill than doing nothing. I joined my freshman Republican colleagues in being an original co-sponsor of a bill that was not allowed a vote, which would have required AIG to take the money back before they get any further bailout monies down the road. Unfortunately, the Democratic majority in Congress would not allow that bill to be heard, and so we only had one option, and that was the taxing of these bonuses. At the end of the day, the end is still the same, and that is that this money will hopefully be returned to the taxpayers where it came from.
So how do you answer the critics who say this is frightening, that the Congress would get together and pass a bill to take back money from people? There's been no trial. Is this a form of punishment? How far is this going to go? How do you answer those criticisms?
Well, I think it's a rightful concern by taxpayers, and I think it's further proof of what a dangerous, slippery slope Congress has gone on several months ago, prior to me being elected to Congress, when they started using taxpayer money to bail out industries. I think it's a very dangerous situation when our federal government decides to pick winners and losers, declares certain businesses too big to fail. As a small business person myself, my background in finance, I know that the whole adage of risk, reward, and how much risk you're willing to take is directly tied to the capitalist markets that we have in this country. And when you declare someone too big to fail and you take out the failure option, that's a very dangerous slope to go down. But at the end of the day, the American taxpayers are 85% stockholders of AIG. And if we're going to ask General Motors and these other industries that have been bailed out to renegotiate their contracts as a part of getting taxpayer money, then the banks on Wall Street should be no different.
All right, this week on the Hill, we understand we're going to hear from Secretary Geithner on a number of different topics. One of those may be the issue of regulating executive compensation. We don't have details yet. It's speculation at this point about what he may say. Where would you come down on that?
Well, you know, aside from the fact that we were, again, 85% shareholders of AIG, I think this was an extreme circumstance. I do not support the federal government getting involved in deciding what the free market ought to pay executives. If we're going to go down that, again, slippery slope, our executives also include basketball players and football players. Does it include A-list actors? Why should we be singling out certain industries, again, that are on their own, that are not asking for a crutch or a handout or a bailout from the federal government, as AIG and these other industries did? I think that's a very dangerous slope. It speaks of class warfare, and it will, I think, seriously danger the free market principles that make our country so successful.
Congressman Aaron Schock, we thank you so much for your insight and your time today.
Thanks, Shannon, for having me.